The rain did not stop. It fell on the broken village in a steady, cold whisper. Paka was everywhere. He helped move families under the parts of the great hall that still had a roof. He carried firewood, his arms straining, his clothes soaked through. He handed out warm tea made from bitter roots, his own hands shaking from the cold and exhaustion. An old woman took a clay cup from him, her fingers brushing his. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded. As he moved away, he heard her say to another, "He is trying. The boy is really trying." They said it with pity. He was not a king to them yet. He was a boy struggling under a weight too heavy for his shoulders. But he would not stop. He looked towards the dark, mist-shrouded mountain where the elders had gone. His entire heart was a single, desperate hope. High on the mountain, the air was thin and cold. The elders, led by the ancient healer Makosi and accompanied by Muka, reached the sacred place. It was a flat stone platform, open to the sky. Silence fell. It was a deep, holy quiet. Makosi stepped forward. She held a small, carved gourd. She poured a thick, traditional beer onto the stone. It pooled and trickled into the cracks. "Great ancestors," she began, her voice raspy but clear. "Fathers of our fathers, we come to you with troubled hearts. The rains fall and sickness walks among our children. Our new king, the son of Shumba, asks a hard thing. He asks to build before the morning is done. He asks to break the old way to save the people." She poured more beer. "We ask you, great ones, guide us. Do we hold fast to the law, or do we bend it to save the people from suffering? Give us a sign. Show us the path." They waited. The wind moaned through the trees. For a long time, there was nothing. Then Makosi's body stiffened. Her milky eyes rolled back until only the whites showed. A different voice, deep and echoing, came from her throat. It was the voice of a very old, powerful spirit. You are watching the Tales of the Savannah. Subscribe and be part of the tribe. Now let's get back to the story. "You dare?" The voice boomed, filled with a terrible anger. "The law is the law. It is the rope that ties the world together. You cannot cut it because you are uncomfortable. To rush is to show disrespect. To build now is to build on sand. The young king must wait. The people must endure. This is the way it has always been." The power of the voice pushed the elders back. They trembled, bowing low to the ground. This was not just a no, it was a divine command. But Muka, his heart burning with the memory of his friend and the sight of his suffering people, took a step forward. He was trembling, but his voice was strong. "Great king," Muka said, bowing low, "we hear your anger. We respect the law, but Shumba, your son, he loved his people more than his own life. He died of a broken heart because he could not protect them." He looked up, his eyes pleading. "The village is ashes. The children cough with fever. The rain is cold. If we wait, there may be no people left for Shumba to watch over when he joins you." The spirit in Makosi was silent, but the air crackled with its power. "We cannot speak to Shumba yet," Muka continued, his voice cracking. "His journey to you is not complete. But I knew his heart. I ask you, great king, as a father, when your son Shumba finally arrives at your side and becomes an ancestor, what will he be an ancestor of?" There was a long, heavy silence. The angry spirit did not speak. The wind seemed to hold its breath. The spirit's growl softened. The golden light in Makosi's eyes flickered. It was considering Muka's words. Then the spirit spoke again, its tone shifting from anger to a grave, solemn authority.
"Your words carry the scent of my Shumba's heart,"
the spirit rumbled.
"But this is no small thing. To change the sacred cycle touches the realm of the gods themselves. This decision is not mine alone to make."
The elders looked up, confused and afraid.
"The lion god, Naraka, favored Shumba above all others,"
the spirit continued.
"He has not shown himself since Shumba's passing. This request, to ask a god for a favor, this is the path you walk."
Makosi's body trembled under the spirit's power.
"We will speak to Naraka on your behalf,
the voice boomed.
We will carry your plea and the memory of Shumba's love to the lion god himself. Stay here. Wait. The answer will not come from us. It will come from him.
The golden light vanished from Makosi's eyes. She collapsed into the arms of the other elders, exhausted. The connection was broken. The spirit was gone, but their answer was not here. Their fate was now in the hands of a distant, silent god. They sat in the cold, waiting in the sacred silence, not knowing if Naraka would even listen. The walk back from Zanele's was a funeral march with no body. Jabali, Zuberi, and Nkosana moved in a thick, miserable silence. Finally, Jabali stopped and turned, the anger bubbling over. "Zuberi," he said, his voice tight. "Has it always been your plan to ruin me?" Zuberi looked as if he'd been slapped. "What? Jabali, what are you saying? I helped you. You helped me. You helped me straight into poverty. They asked for 10 cows. 10, and you, in your great wisdom, offered them 12. You didn't just agree to their price, you outbid them, on my behalf, for my own punishment. Jabali, my friend, you were drowning. I threw you a rope," Zuberi argued, his hands wide. Nkosana shook his head slowly. "It was a heavy rope, Zuberi. A rope of gold that will sink the boat. We could have fought more. We could have offered 5, then 7. We gave up too easily. I gave Jabali a way out. A final settlement. No more meetings. No more shame. It is done." "Done? You have finished me," Jabali roared, stepping closer. "You think like a bachelor. You negotiate like a bachelor. You have no concept of what it means to provide for a family, to manage a herd. I don't even know why I expected you to know how to negotiate. You do not even have a wife. What do you know of a man's responsibilities?" The words hung in the air, cruel and personal. Zuberi's face went from angry to utterly stunned, as if he'd been physically struck. "What did you say to me?" "You heard me," Jabali snarled, his own shame fueling his rage. Zuberi took a step forward, his fists clenched. "Well," he said, his words like shards of glass, "it is better not to have a wife than to cheat on one and have to pay 12 cows for the trouble." Jabali's eyes widened in fury. "Excuse me? I did not hear you well. Say that again. Say it so my ears can hear the foolishness coming from your mouth." "I said," Zuberi repeated, leaning in, "it is better to be a lonely man than a dishonest one. My empty hut has more honor than your full homestead, Chief Bull Jabali." With a guttural cry, Jabali lunged forward, trying to grab Zuberi by the collar of his shirt. "You will take that back," Zuberi moved back. "I will not. You asked for the truth, and now you cannot handle its taste." It was Nkosana who now stood between them. "Enough!" Nkosana bellowed, his voice like thunder. He held Jabali back with one arm and pushed Zuberi with the other. "There will not be any fighting today." "Look at you." Both men were breathing heavily, chests heaving. They glared at each other over Nkosana's shoulders, the heat of their anger still burning. "He started it," Zuberi muttered. "He insulted my life," Jabali shot back. "And you are living yours so well." Nkosana retorted, his gaze pinning Jabali down. Then he turned to Zuberi. "And you? Was that comment helpful? Did it put a single cow back in the herd? Or did it just make you feel clever for a moment?" The silence that fell was heavy with shame. The red-hot anger was cooling, leaving behind the ugly, unchangeable reality of 12 missing cows and a broken friendship. Nkosana finally released them, shaking his head in disgust. "The village has enough problems. Go home, both of you." And cool down Jabali and Zuberi stood for a moment, not looking at each other. Then, without another word, they turned and walked away in opposite directions, the chasm between them wider than it had ever been. Jabali just turned and took the path home. It was already dark when he arrived. Chipo and Akina were in the kitchen hut, laughing over something. Chipo had tears in her eyes from laughter, and Porridge, her dog, was dancing around her feet like a guard on duty. Akina looked up and smiled when Jabali stepped in. "You're just in time," she said. "Chipo was telling me what she plans to name Porridge's future puppy. Apparently one will be called Moonlight Danger." Chipo giggled, wiping her eyes. Moonlight danger, father. Jabali tried to smile, but he did not get the joke. He looked at them, his wife, his daughter, laughing like everything was normal. He let them have it, let them laugh, let them eat, let them enjoy this silence before the storm. The whole village knew already. It wouldn't be long before Akina knew too. He was now a husband of two. It was too quiet at Jabali's homestead, the kind of quiet that has weight. You could hear a spoon hit a grain of salt. You could hear your own thoughts walking around in your head. Jabali didn't like that kind of quiet. It made secrets feel loud. He was still chewing on his thoughts when he heard a voice outside. Anyone home? Only one man in the world asked that question like it was an accusation. Papa Pele. Before Jabali could stand up to stop him, Akina was already laughing. "Come in, old man. What news do you bring? Tell me everything that's happening in the village," she said, her eyes bright. Papa Pele walked in with his usual grin, the kind of grin that could sell gossip by the kilogram. He sat down, didn't greet Jabali, and rubbed his hands like a man about to unwrap a secret. "Well, go on," Akina teased. "You know gossip can't come out of a sore throat." A dry throat doesn't speak well. She knew exactly what she was doing. Papa Pele had a personal law: no gossip without a drink first. He pretended to cough. "Ah, my throat is suffering, my daughter." Akina laughed and poured him a cup. Jabali's stomach turned. Every sip from Papa Pele's cup meant danger was coming. When Papa Pele finally looked up, his grin dropped. "Chief," he said slowly, "I have a message for you." Jabali froze. "Let's talk outside." Akina's smile disappeared. "Outside? For what? It's just gossip." But Jabali's tone left no room. Papa Pele followed him out. Outside, Jabali spun around. "Speak," he demanded. Papa Pele took a step back. "Chief, are you trying to scare me? Please, just speak," Jabali said, forcing his voice to soften. "Ah, that's better." Papa Pele looked around like he was checking for spirits. "Zanele says she will not bring Sekai today or tomorrow. She says Sekai must be healed first. But when she's healed," he paused for effect, "they'll bring her. You're off the hook." For now, Jabali's knees almost gave in. It was like he had just been released from the hangman's rope. Temporarily. He breathed deep, eyes half closed. But Papa Pele wasn't done being Papa Pele. He started walking back to the hut. Jabali blocked him. "No, you must leave." "What? I was invited for breakfast." "Papa Pele, you know yourself. I can't trust you with my secret around my wife or my daughter." Papa Pele chuckled. "You wound me, Chief. But yes, you're right. I do know myself." He turned to leave, then looked back with that toothless smile. "Ah, but Chief, you can't send a messenger away empty-handed. You know, I walked all the way here. My throat needs soothing. Maybe a cool drink will do." He didn't mean water, he meant beer. Everyone knew that cool drink meant tavern. Jabali sighed, reached into his pocket, and handed over a few notes, the kind that hurt to give. Papa Pele grabbed them, grinned, and started whistling as he walked away. Halfway down the path, he shouted back, "Secrets don't stay buried forever, Chief." Jabali winced. His heart stopped. He looked around. No one was outside. Thank the gods. At least no one heard. At least he had a few days of peace. At least. And then, from inside the hut, Akina's voice came floating out sweetly. "Jabali, what secret is Papa Pele talking about?" The gods themselves must have laughed that day. Zanele tied her blue sash around her waist, her fingers trembling slightly. Her mother, Mama Masoi, stood by the door, watching. "You think he will help?" she asked softly. Zanele didn't look up. "He has to. He must." The church bell rang in the distance, slow and heavy. The sound made her chest tighten. She took her handbag and left. Inside the small church of Makuru, incense still lingered from the morning mass. She walked past the pews, her heels echoing on the tiled floor, until she reached the confessional booth. She slipped inside, closed the door, and sat in the dim wooden space. Silence. "Forgive me, Father," "For I have sinned," she said, her voice breaking. After a moment, the reply came. Calm, steady. "Speak, my daughter. It's about Sekai." Her throat tightened. She lost her mind. She's not herself anymore. There was no answer, only the faint creak of wood. "We can only pray for her," he said at last. "I'm not here for prayers." Her voice sharpened. "I'm here for more than that." Again, silence. "You owe me this," she said. The man on the other side was Father Bernard. To his parish, he was a quiet, dedicated priest who had studied in Rome and chosen to return to his humble roots in Makaru, refusing promotions to bigger towns. Father Bernard looked up slowly. The candlelight touched his face, showing lines carved by years of penance and power. His beard was thick and grey, like smoke coiling from a dying fire. His shoulders were still strong for a man his age, but his eyes carried too many secrets. His breath caught. "The witches and the Brotherhood have not seen eye to eye for centuries," he said. "You know that. Why should we help each other now?" She leaned closer to the screen between them. "Because you're not just their leader, Bhekizita." The old priest froze. The name. No one had called him that name in years. Not since the missionaries had given him another. Father Bernard. He cleared his throat. "That name died a long time ago." "Names don't die," she whispered. "They wait." He sighed heavily. "Zanele, you shouldn't be here. Not like this. I wouldn't be if you had ever done right by her." His jaw tightened. "You know why I couldn't." Her voice softened, but the blow was harder. "You know there is no other way. Are you not their leader anymore? Sekai needs you. She needs her father. At least be that." On the other side of the screen, Bernard's heart hammered against his ribs. Father. Zanele had not used that word in relation to him for over 20 years. They had an agreement, a secret buried deeper than any treasure. For her to dig it up now meant she was truly desperate. "That is not how it works, Zanele," he stammered, the formal structure of the church crumbling around him. "That is exactly how it is going to work, Bheki," she said. He pressed his hand to his forehead. "Do you have any idea what you're asking? The Brotherhood would never allow a witch into our sacred ground. You will make them allow it," she said. "I'll bring her tomorrow night." "You speak to them today," he didn't answer. The air between them was thick, heavy with years of unspoken truth. She turned to leave. Her hand rested on the handle. "You know, I used to think you stayed in Makaru because of us," she said quietly. "Now I know you love the Brotherhood more." The door clicked open. "Zanele," he called, his voice almost a whisper. She paused. "If they find out, if anyone learns that Sekai is mine..." She looked over her shoulder, her eyes wet but defiant. "Then maybe, Father Bernard, God will finally punish both of us for our sins." She walked out. The echo of her heels faded into the distance. Father Bernard, Bhekizita, sat alone in the dark booth. For a long time, he didn't move. Then, softly, he began to pray, not to God, but to the old spirits of Makuru, the ones he had never stopped serving. Amina lay on the mat, her back arched, her breathing shallow. The pains had grown closer, sharper. Sweat beaded across her brow. Her gown clung to her like a second skin. The contractions were no longer whispers. They were screams inside her body. Her time had come. She gritted her teeth. Someone had already been sent to fetch Ziva. She had not asked for him, not in that moment, not after the scene he had caused at the wedding, their public debut. He had embarrassed her, acted like a fool in front of everyone. She was still angry, still wounded, still holding on to the sting of that night. Kwame was there, kneeling beside her. His hand hovered near hers, close enough to give comfort, but not so close it would be disrespectful. He knew her boundaries. He always had. "You're doing well," he said gently. His voice was warm, steady. "Just breathe. Let it come." She was grateful for him, grateful that someone had stayed, that someone cared enough to be here now when she felt most alone. The midwives moved quickly, speaking in low, calm voices. The room smelled of earth and herbs and something sharp. Blood. Amina gasped as another wave hit. She gripped the cloth beside her. Her eyes searched the doorway. Still no Ziva. Where was he? Her mind wandered to escape the pain. She had sent Kwame to find out the truth. Why Ziva had acted a fool. What secrets he kept. But the merfolk were tight-lipped. Kwame had offered bribes, favors, even threats, but they told him nothing. The Snake Queen's people were still outsiders in the deep. Even she, their queen, was kept at arm's length. So she had no answers. Only pain. Another contraction tore through her. She screamed. Then the door slammed open. Ziva stormed in, breathless. His eyes flicked to Amina, then to Kwame, and his voice dropped, cold and sharp. "Get out!" Kwame didn't flinch. He stood slowly, locking eyes with Ziva. There was something there. Not just dislike, not just competition. It was personal. A quiet rage passed between them. Kwame's jaw clenched. "I said, get out!" Ziva growled. Kwame turned without a word, but not before casting one last look at Amina. A look Ziva did not miss. Then he was gone. Ziva knelt beside her, his hand brushed against her arm. She did not move, did not speak. "I'm here now," he whispered. Another scream tore from her lips. "It's coming," one of the midwives said. "We see the crown." Amina turned her face away from him. She didn't want to look at him, but she needed him. Tears slid down her cheeks. And then at last, the first child came. A girl, then another, the second, a boy. They were too still, the girl and the boy, small, strange, beautiful, but too still. No cry, no movement, no breath. The midwives looked at each other, their hands trembled. One whispered, "They're not breathing." Amina's eyes went wide. "No," she gasped, reaching for them. "No, no, no." Ziva was already moving. He scooped them up in his arms, one in each hand. Their bodies were warm, but heavy. Their skin shimmered faintly. The girl's tiny snake tendrils hung limp. The boy's eyelids fluttered once, then stilled. He ran. The wind howled through the trees as he tore down the path, his feet barely touching the ground. He heard Amina's voice call behind him, but she didn't stop him. She knew what had to be done. These were not normal children. They were half merfolk. They needed more than air. They needed water. They had not yet learned how to breathe. The river came into view, winding and dark. Ziva didn't stop. He plunged into the water. One breath, one moment, one heartbeat. Then he pushed them both beneath the surface. The current stilled. Everything stilled. He held them there, his arms shaking. "Please," he whispered in his heart. "Please, breathe." And then, a spark, a shimmer, a movement. The girl's snakes twitched first. Then her eyes opened underwater, glowing like two pale moons. The boy moved his tail, slow at first, then strong. And then they swam. Not like babies, not like newborns, like water had always been their home. Ziva watched as they moved through the water with purpose, like creatures awakened, called by something ancient. He laughed, a sound full of wonder and relief. From the riverbank, Amina had arrived. She was breathless, hand on her chest, watching them. "They're swimming," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Ziva, they're swimming." He nodded, chest heaving. "They're strong." She knelt beside him. He reached for her hand. She looked at him, heart still raw with pain and love. And for once, he wasn't wearing his crown. He was just a man, watching his children become something new. In that moment, the river became more than water. It became promise. It became future. A beginning, their beginning. And the twins, born of snake and sea, danced in the water like they had always belonged there. My dear Savanians, today we add a new chair to the inner table. A heartfelt welcome to Rachab, who has joined the monthly subscription tribe. You have taken your place at the inner table, and for that I am deeply grateful. Your support is the firewood that keeps these stories alive. To me, the inner circle is not just a seat. It is a circle of priests, healers, and elders who carry wisdom in the savannah. Rachab, you choose this seat because you belong in the savannah. Be honored, be at home. In our law, when a new seat is taken, we sound the horn of the gods. May it resonate with you deeply and make you feel welcomed. So here it is. Rachab, you have become the heartbeat of the savannah, and to my inner circle who hold the fire with me month after month. The savannah stands because of you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. You are the heartbeat of the savannah. And to those watching from the edges, the horn is calling, the path is open, and the fire is warm. The savannah awaits you. Want to support the channel and become an even bigger part of our tribe? You can join for as little as the cost of a coffee each month. Your support helps me continue creating the content you love, but of course, just having you here is already more than enough. Thank you for being part of this journey. And as always, thank you for watching our story, and we hope you enjoyed it. What lessons did you draw from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the tribe. Thank you for watching The Tales of the Savannah. We will see you next time in the Savannah.